welcome to the channel Tarot Yogi. I'm Vinit, and today we have another timeless pickacard reading on what does everyone else notice about you that you don't. And even before we begin this reading, I do want to announce in less than 2 weeks, I'm offering my highly anticipated astrology course. It's going to be a course, it's for 2 months, it's not a one-day workshop. I have uploaded a syllabus video that you can check out if you just scroll back on my channel. So if you're interested in learning astrology from me, if you're really interested in diving deep into the esoterics, come learn. It is open for witches, psychics, and even normal people who do corporate jobs. It's open for everyone. No matter what you do, astrology is a very important tool for everyone to have and to learn to use. And I think it has really helped me so much, and I'm very happy to share this knowledge with everyone. So come learn, it's going to be awesome. The course starts 31st of January. You can hit me up on my email or my Instagram. My details are given in the description box below. And if you want a personal reading from me, you can hit me up for that as well. I will very happily look at your birth chart as a part of the personal reading. And please do like the video for me, share, subscribe, comment. Please hype the video for me 3 times. It would really help me with the engagement on the channel. And thank you so much for all the love, all the lovely sweet comments, all the donations. I really appreciate all the love that you guys keep pouring into my life. I just feel so grateful that I get to do this every day. So thank you. And we have 3 piles to choose from. Pile number 1, we have our Deviant Moon. Pile number 2, we have our Oswald Wirth Tarot. And pile number 3, we have our Gustav Klimt Tarot. So take a minute, see what pile is being called to you intuitively. The description box below will have the timestamp for your pile. And again, remember, general readings, take what resonates, leave the rest. If you like my video, do like, share, subscribe, do hype the video for me 3 times. Hit me up if you want a personal reading. I will very happily look at your birth chart. Hit me up if you want to learn astrology. It starts 31st of January in less than 2 weeks, and I will see you guys in your reading. Thank you. Hello, pile number 1. If you chose the Deviant Moon Tarot, this is your reading on what does everyone else notice about you that you don't. And even before we begin this reading, I do want to announce in less than 2 weeks, I will be offering my astrology course for the very first time. So if you're interested in learning astrology from me, do sign up. It's going to be an amazing course. It's going to be really, really awesome for you to join. And it's going to be a really awesome course. It's going to be really amazing for you to join. It's a 2-month course. It's not a one-day workshop. So if you have your weekends and if you have the time where you really want to, invest in your esoterics, invest in your learning, in your higher learning, come learn. This is open for psychics, witches, and people who do corporate too. This is open for everyone because astrology is a phenomenal tool to have no matter, what you do. So come learn. We will be getting predictive value from our chart and from other people's chart as well. We will be learning how to read and make predictions at the end of the day. That's what we do over here, and I'm very available if you would like a personal reading from me. I will very happily look at your birth chart as a part of the personal reading. And please do like the video for me. Please like, share, subscribe. Please hype the video for me 3 times. It would really help me with the engagement on the channel. And just thank you so much for all the love, all the lovely sweet comments, all the amazing clients. I'm so grateful that I get to do this work, and you guys really feed my soul. So thank you, for all the lovely comments, all the donations. I can't believe I get to do this every day, so thank you. And now let's begin this reading on what does everyone else notice about you that you don't. We got the Star and we got the Lovers. To Major Arcana. Oh, tripod is here. So there's a dog over here, and I call him Try because, so doesn't have one leg, but he's doing much better. he's doing much better, and I think he's just woken up. And we fed all the dogs, and I think he's just woken up and he's here now. He can smell me. Yeah, couldn't feed him because he was sleeping. A lot of y'all could be late bloomers. A lot of y'all are meant to bloom late in life. You could have Saturn in the first house, Saturn in the 10th house, Saturn in the 11th house. Saturn is giving you a lot of delays in your life, pile number one. But you're meant to overcome those challenges. Because how people truly see you, that you don't see yourself as, is people see you as the star. You are the rising star. So this is who you are. This is how people see you. They see you to be the star that you are. And we have the Lovers. I'm honestly getting very Marilyn energy. Pile number one, I do think you're meant for greatness. I think you're meant for true greatness. You're very beautiful, very seductive, but I don't think your beauty is, just for the sake of beauty. I think your beauty is very divine. You're meant to move the masses. You're meant to, be like the highlight of the culture. You're meant to express things that everyone else is feeling. And that's why you've had to go through a lot of these difficulties. And a lot of people can see this. People can see the making of a star, like a star is born. So people can sense that within you. I think people have always sensed that. And I'm sure you've had a lot of friends who've been around you because they knew that they would benefit by being with you. You're sort of like the sun. The sun is the star at the end of the day. And the sun has his own entourage, which is his whole solar system, which is where we all fit in, tiny little humans. So you have that gravitas about you. You have that gravitational pull of a star. And you don't notice this about yourself because you're so busy being the star that you are. And what are stars? Stars are constantly burning. Stars are constantly burning. You could have strong Kritika placements. Kritika Nakshatra, last degrees of Aries, early degrees of Taurus. You're very connected to fire and the sun and the deacons of the sun, the nakshatras of the sun. You definitely have a strong connection to the solar energies. And this is the year of the sun, at least when I'm filming it, which is 2026. And my readings are timeless. But I do think you need to connect to the energy of the sun. And the most simple remedy you can do is offer sun water in the morning. That would really help. And do some Surya Namaskar, ideally in the daytime or when the sun is rising. Surya Namaskar with the mantras will really, really help you as a remedy over here. People also do notice the difficulties you've had to experience in love. So I do think people maybe talk about that. Because this is a very devious lover's card, Because the girl is in love, but the guy over here, something doesn't seem right with him. And he's being bit by a snake. So pile number one, I think what you need to understand about your life is even a lot of bad, unethical things, amoral things happen. They don't sort of define you, And whatever happens is supposed to happen from like the greater perspective, from the divine perspective. even if it feels very wrong to us and very amoral to us. And people do notice that a lot of wrong things have happened to you, yet you remain so obedient to the higher force. You remain very loving to the higher force, because we have this cute brown dog that he's just around the car, because I think they can all smell me now. And he's a very cute obedient dog. He's very, very sweet. He's very, very loving, you know but I think they were sleeping when we were feeding the other dogs. So maintain your inner devotion and obedience. That is what is going to really, really benefit you. And you're very, very protected. You have a lot of dogs in your reading. Pile number 1. You're very, very connected to dog energy too. People also see that you're an action taker. We have the Knight of Swords. You're very impulsive at times, and the impulsiveness is good for you. It benefits you. Pile number 1. It's almost like you have a divine spark, to often take action even if you've been in slumber forever. And that really benefits you a lot. Yeah, there's something about timing and surrender with you, the Hangman. Something about timing and surrender over here. It always works out in your favor because you always do this. And people can see that, you are fighting at multiple fronts, and it almost seems like you're losing yourself, yet you only come out victorious. And just before I got to recording this reading, I had a client, and she had a very interesting chart where she had a lot of planets in the 6th house, and she had a Rahu in the 6th, and she was a Libra ascendant, and what I told her is that despite your nature being that of love and harmony and wanting peace, chaos and conflicts is where you'll actually thrive. Because if you have Rahu in the 6th house, for example, which I do think a lot of y'all might have, even check your Navamsha, you will be in a lot of these messed up situations, and you will have a lot of enemies. You will have a lot of enemies, yet you will never lose. You will always win, even in all the conflict and the chaos. And with what I've noticed, with Venusian heavy people, people who have a lot of Venus in their chart and who don't have a very strong Mars, and I do think that is the case over here with you too. There is a lot of this repressed anger. There's a lot of this volcanic anger that is just sitting below the surface that doesn't know how to be channeled, So the more you activate your Martian energy by working out, training with weapons, whatever you have to do, it will help you activate that part within yourself too. So what everyone notices about you, what I'm trying to say is your anger that you don't notice about yourself because it is so unconscious for you. And I don't think you just have basic anger, It really burns like fire. It really burns with a passion. And I do think your anger is a very strong driving force for you. And it has been a very strong driving force for you. Yeah, you overthink, you stress, you assume the worst, yet you show up, get everything done, continue to be the best at what you do. In the tension of life is where we all exist. Pile number 1. So what are we truly running from? Should we be really running from our problems? I think that's because you'll realize everything is a play at the end of the day. We're all just kids at the puppet show. And here we see, a demonic figure and, someone that looks like a priest. Are we not two sides of the same coin, and don't we all carry this duality within us, right? So I do think this is what you need to notice about yourself. You know, you could have Mars in the fourth house, Mars in Cancer, Mars in Libra, Mars in Taurus, Mars in the seventh house, Mars in the second house. You could have these Mars placements that, you know, require you to activate that energy within yourself, because it is a driving force for you. It is a very big driving force for you. You could even have Mars at 22 degrees. It's a very important planet for you, and for you to work with its energy. Even if it's the most difficult thing for you to do, you know. Take up sports, take up some kind of athletics. Even if you have a very busy schedule, even if you don't have time for making money, I get it. You know, I can't keep up with my workouts either, but whenever I show up and whenever I get them done, especially with consistency, it's what, like, you know, keeps me sane, and it keeps me grounded throughout, you know, all my working hours, to be very honest. You know, as someone who does psychic work and has been doing psychic work for quite a few years, you know, you have to make your body strong. You cannot survive in this, you know, your mind will just eat you, you know, especially as psychics. And I do think a lot of y'all are very intuitive and psychic in this pile. So, you know, the tree can only grow as high as it can, as long as the roots grow deeper. You know, pile number 2. Pile number 1, you might have some messages in pile number 2, even though I haven't recorded it. Continue to take this divine action. You know, sometimes take action and then think later. That's also okay. And I'm sure you can look back and see how many times that energy has actually benefited you, even if it didn't make sense, you know. It's almost like you got possessed by your higher self that made you do what you did. And you know, this Knight of Swords really reminds me of the first nakshatra in Aries, which is the Ashwini nakshatra, ruled by Ketu. So there is that strong Ashwini energy here as well. You're meant to conquer lands. You're meant to have it all. And don't compare yourself to people, you know, who have everything right now, because they will be continuing to do that for 30, 40 years. The reason that, you know, you don't have what you're truly meant to have is because you're meant to climb a higher ladder, right? For example, if all your friends are working at a company and only you are the one who doesn't have the job, is because you're meant to be the CEO. And the path of the CEO is a little different than the employee, right? By number 1. So understand this about yourself. You are being prepared for the greatness that is going to come your way. Yeah. I got the 5 of Swords and I got the 5 of Cups. Conflicts is where your kingdom is. By number 1. Please remember this. Accept this about yourself. It's in your nature. You are a warrior. You know, you cannot run away from your own rage. And you know, I've come to realize that rage is not necessarily a bad thing, even though I've always seen it that way. You know, whenever I speak to my friends about this, or, you know, people in my life, you know, they always say that it's good to fight, you know, it keeps the passion alive. And I'm not always felt that way, but I kind of see where people come from when they say that now. You know, and I think that's the kind of realization you need to have about yourself. And I think the more you activate this Martian part within yourself, you will be able to sustain yourself and even have a bigger gravitational pull because you are the star. And that's how you're being perceived by number one. You actually thrive in conflicts. Conflicts are good for you. I know it sounds so crazy for me to even say that, but it is. And if you understand your life's cheat code, you become king. It's as simple, you know. You're very Rahu dominant, I will say that. There's a lot of this Rahu energy. And even before I started your reading, when I was pulling out this deck from my bag, it just spilled all over, and I was so annoyed because I've already had a long day. And I just hope I got all my tarot cards. So it's okay to be a little messy and to, not have things perfected right away. And it doesn't mean you're bad at it. You have to learn to keep with it. And sometimes delays are good. Sometimes failing is good because you've gotten the chance to perfect your craft. We have the firefly and the panther. And you know what? I love the panther. It's a very, very cool feline in my personal opinion. And what I love about panthers is, the way I read the panther energy is very shamelessly be who you are. Even the older version of you was really iconic, and very unabashedly claim that, who you've been, and continue to be that because there's no one like you. Panthers are standalone creatures. Another very interesting feline fact that I saw on YouTube Shorts was, tigers are, well, they're not social, but tigers and lions, you can tap them with like a sandal to like calm them down, as a domination tactic. But you cannot do that with leopards. And the reason for this is, leopards are true solitary creatures. So, they will not see that as a domination act, but they will see it as, threat. They will see it as conflict, And again, the whole sixth house conflict thing coming here. You definitely have a stellium in the sixth house. And that is you, you are the true lone leopard, and it's better for you to be that way. And you will be able to neutralize any sort of attack. And even if you feel very, very small, you're not. You think you're the firefly, but you're actually the panther. You see the difference in the energy? This is what you think you are. You think you have a little stinger. Little do you know you have like a, man-eater fang. Claim your power by number one. People see you to be the panther, Time to really claim your panther energy. Work with felines. They will really help you with this period of your life. So whenever you see cats or something, let it calm you, let it relax you, They're definitely your guides right now. And even your guides and your ancestors, they're manifesting. Even crows. You definitely have a lot of spirits around you, pile number one. Yeah, that's all I have. Again, it's a general reading. Take what resonates, leave the rest of you. Like my style of reading, do like the video, share, subscribe, comment, please. Hype the video for me 3 times if you like my style of reading. Do hit me up if you want a personal reading. I will happily look at your birth chart. And if you want to learn astrology, sign up. We start the course in less than 2 weeks, and I'll see you guys in your next reading. Thank you. Hello, pile number 2. If you chose the Oswald Worth Tarot, this is your reading on what does everyone notice about you that you don't. And even before we begin this reading, I do want to announce, in less than 2 weeks, I will be offering my astrology course for the very first time. So if you're interested in learning astrology, do sign up. You can hit me up on my email or my Instagram, details given in the description box below. And it's a 2-month course, it's not a 1-day workshop. If you have the time, if you want to dive into the esoterics, if you want to learn from me, come learn. It's going to be awesome. It's a beginner friendly course. You don't have to know any astrology. Even if you are like a full-time working professional, this is also for you, so come learn. It's going to be awesome. And yeah, if you want to hit me up for a personal reading, you can do that as well. I will very happily look at your birth chart as a part of the personal reading. And please do like the video for me, share, subscribe, comment. Please hype the video for me 3 times. It would really help me with the engagement on the channel. And thank you so much for all the love, all the lovely sweet comments that you guys keep pouring into my life. I really, really appreciate all the love. And yeah, let's begin this reading on what does everyone else notice about you that you don't. Okay, pile number 2, we have the 7 of Pentacles and we have the 7 of Wands. What you don't notice about yourself is how truly patient you are. You're a very, very patient person. And it's not just your patience. I think what you have is a deep sense of inner knowing, a deep clairvoyance. And even if you're not doing a lot of things, it might seem like you're not doing a lot, but you're plotting, and you're planting your seeds for them to germinate at the right time. What you don't notice about yourself that everyone sees is you're like Yoda, You really have like a deep spiritual mastery. You could have Jupiter in the 9th house. Jupiter could be your Atma Karak. It's a very prominent planet in your birth chart. You're into knowledge for the sake of the knowledge, Pile number 2, you are a natural teacher and you don't notice this about yourself. You're always teaching people, and what you need to do is you need to start charging people for it, and you need to start monetizing your gifts for sure. Because you have the understanding, you have the patience with people. You take your time with things. And it's very rare in today's fast-moving world. And another thing that you don't notice about yourself that everyone does is you can really hold your ground. You're very good in the face of conflicts. You're really, really good with conflicts. And you're not just good with conflicts, you're really good at problem-solving skills. I'm getting Saturn in the 12th house. You could even have Saturn in Pisces. And we have Saturn in Pisces going on right now. You could have Rahu in the 4th, Rahu in the 6th, Rahu in the 3rd. You have a really good Rahu placement. Even Rahu in the 11th. You're meant to have all your desires fulfilled in this lifetime. Pile number 2. And even if you have a lot of enemies, you will actually do well. You will always win. You could even have Saturn in the 10th. Saturn could also be in the 11th. You could even have a Saturn-Rahu conjunction. But delay is good for you. The more conflicts you are in, the more you sort of, go through difficulties of life, keep even failing. So, whatever people call failing these days. Because are we truly failing at something? What if you needed to develop 5 different skills before you could actually learn your 6th skill, which was going to be your main skill? But you wouldn't have known that if you didn't go through a Saturnian lesson learning the other 5 skills. Then the final 6th skill wouldn't come to you easy. Right? You need to understand this about yourself. And people see this about you, but you don't you don't forgive yourself. You're very hard on yourself. Pile number 2, you're not being kind to yourself despite going through a lot and winning. And you don't just take on your stuff, you take on other people's stuff, which is a lot to do. You do a lot, pile number 2, and you don't feel you do enough. You're very consumed. Strong Virgo placements by your service. What you have to do, what you have to give, what you have to build. Strong Capricorn, strong Virgo energy. And for a lot of y'all, it does seem like this could be a last life on Earth, because there's a sense of urgency and there's a sense of getting all the things done, you know? I think your soul is old and your soul is tired. I'm talking about your soul, not you, you know? And I'm sure that's how you actually feel at times, even if it's for no goddamn reason, you know? You could have Sun in the 12th house, especially with Mercury in your Navamsha chart, in your progressed chart. I think the older you'll get, the more isolation you will actually prefer. And it'll lead you to a sense of moksha and liberation in this lifetime. Yeah, I'm right. We got the 6 of Pentacles. You're here to give. You're not here to get anything. You've gotten everything that the world truly has to give you. Pile number 2. You're only here to clear your checks and balances. You're only here to clear your karmic debt. And you're only here to give. And the more you'll get, the more you'll give, the more you will get. Even if you don't want it. You know, and that's how you break the cycle. So from the 7 of Pentacles, we got the 6 of Pentacles. And this is Moon in Taurus, which is exalted. And then we get Saturn in Taurus. It's all about the waiting game with you. And the more you wait, the better things will be, even if it seems like you're not doing much. And keep giving. Even if people think you're foolish, give everything you have to give, because you have deep, deep reserves of knowledge. You have libraries of knowledge within you. You contain vast knowledge on different topics. The more you give, the more you teach in this lifetime. You know, the karmic balance will be balanced for you, and you will be receiving all the goodness and the happiness you truly deserve to. I think you're used to living on very little. You're used to living on almost nothing, pile number 2, and that's definitely a superpower you have, but you don't have to keep being that way. And people can see that. People can see the sacrifices you make. And it's not like you even like to, you don't even see it that way. I get it, you know. You naturally have a detachment from things. You could have Ketu in the 1st house and Rahu in the 7th. You know, a lot of identity crisis is what people see you in that you don't often realize that you are in. So for some reason, I feel all of this is very public in a way. You could have Moon in the 10th or Moon in the 11th as well. You know, your emotions are very public. You can even have Moon in the 1st house. You know, how you feel is what you're wearing on the face. You know, you cannot hide how you feel. And you have very, very beautiful, expressive eyes that say everything, even if you're saying nothing. Pile number 2. And people notice it, and people want to get lost in your eyes, especially if they have like a video or a photo of you. They definitely keep looking at it. There's a strong energy to want to possess, you know. And in a way, what they're craving is, and what their soul is craving is, how to be like you. Really, I'm not even like capping over here. Pile number 2. People are really trying to study your ways, but what they don't understand is they're young souls and you're a very old soul. They have a lot of maturing to do as their consciousness, as their soul, you know. People could also notice that a lot of people want to be around you, want to be your friends, but you prefer your solitude. And I think it's better that way. You're not meant to have a lot of friends. You're not meant to have a lot of people to just You're not meant for regular things, pile number two, and you're not meant to just have friends and have a normal life and just gossip your life away. You know, you're meant for greatness, and you're meant to be a master. You know, we have the Queen of Cups, and you know, interesting that she has a sword in her hand, you know. But the cup is closed because she intuitively knows what's in the cup. She doesn't need to open the cup to see, you know, the contents of the cup. And I think that is who you are. With the Three of Cups and the Queen of Cups, I feel what people notice about you that you don't is you are on a pedestal. You are on a pedestal like the Queen. You know, you're not like everyone else. Even if you want to be at times, even if you want to blend in with the crowd, even if you want to be another faceless person in the crowd, your destiny simply won't allow it. You know, there will be something that will always separate you from people. You know, it's like the beginning of that song on the Lust for Life album by Lana. 13 Beaches, where she's like, what's wrong in the world? I don't know what it is. Something separates me from other people, you know? And then she goes into singing, you know, it took 13 beaches to find one empty. So you're always looking for your peace, your solitude, you know? You don't want the glitz and the glam, and you don't want the attention on you, yet it always comes on to you. Your channeled song is 13 Beaches. Definitely listen to it. And you know, the Queen of Cups, she loves to sit up. She's usually sitting at the beach. You know, you come to the Queen because you know where she is, you know, in her kingdom. You're meant for greatness. You're meant for bigger things. You're not meant for everyday things, pile number two. And that's why you don't get everyday things. You know, you're not meant for it. Even if it sucks, even if, you know, you're not getting what you want in the moment, your soul is always getting what it needs, regardless of you feeling however. Sometimes having less is having more. And you're here to learn these important lessons. Sometimes having less is having more. File number 2. You're really good at conflict resolution and you have a great inner sonar. What people also notice is if you realize you're stuck in a rut, you know, you will change that and you will not keep mulling over what has been, and you will not waste a lot of your energy. You're not very indecisive when it comes to things, and you're also very good with cutting away things and just moving forward. You are like a real inspiration to whoever's life you are into, whether people know your personal story or they just know you from the internet. You know, you're meant to be famous, you're meant to be known, and you're meant to be a mirror and a teacher to a lot of people that you'll never even speak to, pile number 2. And people notice this about you, even if you don't see it about yourself. You know, you can be hung up about one or two small things that we think we want, that we don't even need. We think we want. And you know, we drive ourselves so crazy up the wall for nothing. Right? And I do think these are spiritual lessons you are learning over here. And it's a part of your soul's growth and mission over here to go through these things so you can be who you're meant to be. Truly be who you're meant to be, pile number 2. People can see this. People can see the path you are on. Yeah, we got the Queen of Wands. You're showing up in a lot of this Queen energy, which is inner mastery. People see your inner mastery that you are not able to see because you're just so busy cultivating it, which is honestly really beautiful, and that's how it's supposed to be. You know, we're not supposed to have a sense of ego about, you know, our spiritual progress. You're very much on the right path and you're very much doing the right thing, might I say, pile number 2. Yeah, the force. Strength. You will find the strength even in moments that you didn't know you had any left. That's the magic over here. That's what you need to understand and realize about yourself. Beautiful. We have the elk and we have the hummingbird. And looking at these cards, what I want to say is what you don't often notice is how crazily accurate your predictions are. Definitely strong psychic energy, and with the hummingbird, you're really good at your skills and you're really undermining yourself. You can do what not most people in this world can do. And I'm telling you, you have gifts that you need to charge it, start charging people for. You're not meant to be broke in this lifetime, pile number two. And you're not meant to just have enough. You're meant to have it all, and you're meant to have more. You're meant to be dominated by your Rahu energy. You could be in your Rahu Mahadasha, Antardasha, Pratantardasha. You're really being called into your North Node. You're really being called into your life's purpose and your soul's purpose over here. And people can already see this about you, even if you are a little hazed out and confused and not able to see clearly. People can see your truth. People can see what you're meant. People can see what you're meant for and what you're made of. It's very apparent, especially to the people that hate you. And I told you, conflicts is good. The more people that hate you, the more you will go up. And might I say, even for your pile, even having a little debt, even if it's from your own parents, is good for you, because the more debt you have, the more money you will actually make. So don't worry about being in debt. All your debt will be cleared. In fact, you would be the pile that I would say that, you need to have a good credit score, because that would help you make more money. It's just karmic and your astrology over here. You could even make a lot of money through speculative gains. And people see these things that they don't always see you realizing about yourself. When you work hard, the money comes to you really easy, because you operate from an honest place, and you work very, very hard, and you're very diligent with it, that most people aren't. People take shortcuts, people wish it wasn't the way that it was, or they do a horrible job, but you're none of that. So you're really admired by number two. You could even have Jupiter in the 10th, Jupiter in Capricorn. You will be remembered for your work and stuff. You will not be remembered for your personal life, which is how it should be, for most people. So you're meant to have a pretty awesome life. Things will only improve for you the older you get. I know I have a lot of younger audience. I just feel the responsibility to say that now, because it does get better the older you get. So don't forget that. And you're really awesome. Just because you're not getting to where you need to be right now, that doesn't invalidate who you already are and who you're going to become, which is already pretty awesome, because you've always been that, pile number two. And people see this, people see your awesomeness, people see your charisma, your personality, people see all these amazing things that you have, yet you keep yourself so small. For what? For who? Pile number two. I think those are big questions you need to answer yourself. Might I say, you might also have some messages in pile number one. Yeah. And that's all I have. Again, it's a channel reading. Take what resonates, leave the rest. If you like my style of reading, do like the video. Share, subscribe, comment. Please hype the video for me 3 times. It would really help me with the engagement on the channel. And if you're interested in learning astrology, if you are interested in getting a personal reading, hit me up, and I'll see you guys in your next reading. Thank you. Hello, pile number 3. If you chose the Gustav Klimt tarot, this is your reading on what does everyone else notice about you that you don't see about yourself. And even before we begin this reading, I do want to announce 31st of January, I will be offering my astrology course, which begins in less than 2 weeks. So if you're interested in learning astrology from me, do sign up. It's going to be awesome. It's a 2-month course. It's not a 1-day workshop. I have uploaded the syllabus video. You can check that out if you're interested in learning. You can send me an email. You can hit me up on my Instagram if you want more details. You can also reach out if you want a personal reading from me. I will very happily look at your birth chart as a part of the reading and Please do like the video for me. Share, subscribe, comment. Please hype the video for me 3 times. It would really help me with the engagement on the channel. And thank you so much for all the love, all the lovely, sweet comments that you guys keep pouring into my life. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the donations. And yeah, let's begin this reading now on what does everyone else notice about you that you don't. Okay, pile number 3. We have very interesting cards. We have the Knave of Swords, which is the Page of Swords. We have the Knight of Wands, the Queen of Swords, and we have the Magician. People notice you're really good at studies, you're very good at knowledge, you're very good at retaining information, gaining information. You're really good at spying, not just spying, you're very good at getting to the depth of things. You could have Mercury in the 8th house or Mercury in Scorpio. You're really good at getting to the secret of things. And it's a special skill you have. And another thing that people notice that you don't about yourself is you're really good under pressure. You actually perform the best when you're under pressure. You become truly unbeatable when you are under pressure. And with these cards, even the Queen of Swords, she's the most masculine of the queens. So wherever you fall on the gender spectrum, it doesn't matter. You have this overt masculine nature to you. And people notice this and people like it. It's this strong alpha energy that you have. And it can be very cold and very cutting. It can handle the heat and it can handle the pressure. And it can cut through to get to the truth of things. So you are a triple threat that way, pile number 3. That's what you need to realize. And we also got the Magician for you. And it's an extra card, but I kept it because it's so beautiful. And it's the Magician that we see over here. And here we have a lady magician, might I say. So and the kind of magic she is doing is very interesting because she has a snake and she has a bowl. And who knows, is she doing divination with snake poison? So you're very unique and you have your own way of doing things. And a cat is just crossing the street. They're all hungry, they've all woken up now. So, and it's a very beautiful grey and white cat, You're deeply spiritual, pile number 3. Grey cats are strong mystical spiritual energy, and you have that depth within you. And even in very difficult circumstances, you stay very balanced and you get things done. You make things happen, you create realities that you want. And you don't notice this about yourself, but everyone else does. You're like Merlin and you don't even know it, pile number 3. That's how it feels, to be very honest. Yeah, you're so busy creating, 8 of Pentacles. Hard worker, consistent worker. And you could be undermining yourself. You're very critical with yourself and maybe you're not even getting paid enough, but you need to stand up and yeah, you need to be defensive. You need to fight for yourself. Nine of Wands. Maybe you're defensive about the wrong things. Yeah. People also see you to be someone who can have it all if they truly want, You can truly have it all if you really wish it to be so. People also see that whatever happens in your life, you don't complain. You take the worst and the worst and you make it work for yourself. You actually benefit from devastations, pile number 3. And you might not notice this because, yeah, it is truly a devastation for you, but the way you pull yourself back from it, the way you recover from it, kudos to you. No one can do that, pile number 3. I really mean it. 7 of Swords and Hermit. You've been betrayed a lot, and I think there's been a natural push from large groups of people and societies, and you could have Saturn or Ketu, and Saturn and Ketu in the 11th house. You don't do well in large groups of people, and you're better off alone. And maybe that's what you need to know about yourself. You You're meant to operate more like in your hermit energy and, influence the masses, like, being the magician up in the tower, controlling everything in the kingdom without ever leaving his tower. That's the kind of hold you're meant to have, and people see this about you even if you don't see this about yourself. And I think, you could try to normalize yourself too much to get along with other people, but you're not meant to get along with other people. Pile number 3, you need to really realize this, your true power, who you actually are. You know, you are a very beautiful, magical being. A lot of you could even be from the Asurgan over here. You're meant to go through the difficulty of things. You're meant to go through the intensity of things and still create a change that is needed and required by everyone. Pile number 3. Your 7 of Pentacles. You're good with time. You're good with the clairvoyance. You're good with the foresight of things. And you're so good with timing that you will always checkmate the enemy. You will always overcome the enemy in a very grandiose way, might I say. You will decapitate the enemy and have, the head of the enemy in a plate in your court. You're just that cool, pile number 3. And you don't always see this about yourself. But people do notice. People do notice. People also notice how burdened you are, just because I don't think you're very great with boundaries. And I kind of get that too. I'm a little that way too. So the better boundaries you have, the easier your life will become, trust me. But because you're so loving, because you're so giving, it's difficult for you to have boundaries. People see this, But sometimes you have to realize that to help more people, having boundaries is important, You're full of life, you're full of passion, You're very connected to source energy, you're very connected to the divine, pile number 3. That's why you have this, aura of fire around you. And that is going to really always be there. It's just something about you that is so magnetizing to people. You're like the honey to the bees. You're like the queen bee covered in honey, That's how magnetic you are. The whole hive exists because of you. Because you're the queen bee. And you don't even see this about yourself. Because you're so busy being that. So you're doing an awesome job over here. And people see this. People see this. Oh, people definitely see this, And they're jealous. And they know that they could never be all that. And that's okay, They can be what they are. And you can be who you are. So you're doing really well for yourself, even if you don't feel that way, even if you are not able to see it in the moment because you're so busy. I get it. Pile number 3, but you're really the star. People see this. People see the starhood and the the superstarness that you have within yourself. That's what everyone notices about yourself that you don't. Everyone wants to have the happy ever after with you, even if they know they're not going to have you forever. You just invoke that in people, might I say. You don't notice what a mirror you are to people, I think a lot of people have come and gone from your life, and you're meant to have that. You're meant to go through a lot of people in your life to balance out your karma and to help them, learn and to teach them what they need to learn in order to grow and refine their soul and refine their consciousness so it can ascend to the levels that you are reaching right now. By number 3. And I get it, this work hasn't been easy. It's tireless, it's tedious, you have to keep at it across lifetimes, not even months or years or decades, lifetimes. And you've been doing this for a while, But the more self-knowledge you have, the more actual knowledge of the self, that is what is going to liberate you. pile number 3. And you're so busy getting the knowledge that you forget who you are, which is the whole point over here. So you're doing pretty awesome, and slow steady wins the race, Knight of Pentacles. Again, masculine, very responsible energy. That's how you're showing up, even if it's not your nature. I think I saw the Emperor somewhere too. So being in a masculine energy is what people really notice, that you might not, you might just think that you're dealing with the situation at hand, but it's not just that. You're really, making the most of that very complicated situation and completely dominating that. That's what you're doing, pile number 3. You're meant to have a lot of followers. You're meant to have a lot of people who will follow you, even if you don't feel that way about yourself. A lot of people will follow you, and you will be feeding a lot of people, metaphorically. Even it could be literally, but yeah, you will be feeding people. You'll be feeding people and their souls the true nourishment that they need for their actual expansion. You will be feeding people's soul the actual expansion they need for their consciousness. You'll be giving them that nourishment, honestly. And it's not always an easy job. And you might not always see this about yourself, but that's what you do to people. And people are forever grateful. Definitely strong healer energy, strong influencer energy, strong celebrity energy. You're meant to affect the masses at a very heart level, and that's not easy to do. It's not at all an easy thing to do, pile number 3. And you may feel very stifled, you may feel very cut off from the world, as if no one gets it. But it's supposed to be that way. You're not here to be understood, you're here to understand. And you're here to create a safe space for other souls. And you are that powerful enough, even if you don't feel that way, even if you don't see it in your moment of weakness. You alone is like stronger than 10 people in a group. That's how powerful you actually are. And half your battles is learning who you are, knowing who you are, remembering what you are, pile number 3. And I hope this reading really helps you, because you are really phenomenal. You truly are. And I don't even think you see your own brilliance. And you might not even have the time to maybe, wait and smell the roses. But I really hope you do even take a moment to yourself. That is what is going to really change the game for you even more, I feel. Yeah, strength. Keep pushing forward. Yeah, dolphin, sea serpent, and shark. Shark and dolphin are such opposite energies, and you are both. You are both over here, pile number 2. Pile number 3, you might have some messages on pile number 2. And you're very good at switching the roles. You know when what is needed at your end, and you're really good at switching it up. So don't forget this, you wear both the masks. And you can switch it up when you need to be whichever one. So people see you to be the shark that you are, And these are creatures of the deep: sea serpent, shark, dolphins. They all swim in the deep. And again, the dolphin here is communicating things. So you are communicating the higher knowledge to people. And you better charge people for it, might I tell you. Don't give your knowledge out for free. And don't give your knowledge out until it's really appreciated, And I know I also get really enthusiastic, and I often share more than I should, but it's a learning curve for all of us, so respect your own knowledge too, pile number 3. I think that's the message. I think people see that, you don't always respect yourself because you're so loving. You could have a very strong Jupiter and a very weak Mercury and a weak Venus, You're too loving, you're too giving. You're just giving everything. And you have to find a balance there so you can actually give more and not burn in the process of giving, which you need to actually be more conscious and self-aware of. That's what you need, pile number 3. Otherwise, you're like a rock star. You're literally like my favorite person, for real. I feel you. Yeah. My Bambi. You could have a Mrigashira ascendant, Taurus, last degrees of Taurus, early degrees of Gemini. Very restless, but very beautiful eyes. Ground yourself. You're not always being attacked. You are the attacker. Pile number 3. That's what everyone sees about you that you don't. Yeah. That's all I have. Again, it's a general reading. Take what resonates, leave the rest if you like my style of reading. Do like the video, share, subscribe, comment. Please hype the video for me 3 times. If you enjoyed my content, it would really help me with the engagement. If you want to learn astrology, sign up. It's going to be an amazing course. It starts in less than 2 weeks, 31st of January. If you want a personal reading, hit me up for that as well. I will very happily look at your birth chart, and I will see you guys in your next reading. Thank you.